Um, Hello, unicorns, welcome back. This is a part 2 of my coming out story because I reached a limit. Y'all, I reached a limit. And yeah, I couldn't. I'm the kind of person who communicates a lot, and because of communicating a lot, then it felt really terrible that someone wouldn't, my mom, not someone, not just someone, my mom wouldn't reach out to me. She would tell a friend of mine that I'm doing okay even when she has not spoken to me since. The last time I talked to anyone in my family was, I think, 12th of August 2018, and there was a confrontation that was up with it. There was a huge confrontation because I argued with my mom because she was using the whole line of she's not feeling well, I should go back home because she's sick and everything. And again, I ended up feeling very invalidated because regardless of all that I was going through, somehow I still needed to care that she was not feeling well. And it's not that I don't care, I totally do care a lot, but where is the balance, you know? Where is the balance of even call and ask, how are you, how have you been since you left home and everything? And I'll tell you, the hardest thing that happened during that experience was the fact that on 10th, after I left the conference, I called Mercy, and Mercy wasn't coming home. She was going to see a friend, which is totally okay. And I really was out of choices, and I remember I spent my evening somewhere at some fast food joint, and I was looking at my phone and hoping it would ring. Have you ever wished telepathy worked? At that point, I wished the very one existing strand that is left between me and my mom's connection would make her call me at that time so that I can have a place to stay, but I didn't. And I remember having to stay in a hotel for 2 nights, and after that the money that I had on me ran out, and that marked the beginning of me living a life of not knowing where to go. I know I'm a person who communicates and talks a lot, but it's sad that during this period, as soon as I told someone I'm not okay, I need to talk and everything, a lot of things that I got were, you're strong, you'll be fine and everything. And I hold no grudge against anyone. I have nothing against anybody, but that shit hurt to just hear you're strong when you know at that moment there's nothing strong about your existence. You're breaking into pieces. It's so hard, you can't even comprehend. When someone is telling you you're strong, you're just about to mark your first night on the streets, scared as hell. I had had a number of sleepless nights before, so this was just coming as a scenario of, yeah, whatever. And that shit was scary. It was so scary in the sense that I didn't know what to expect, but also I kind of knew what to expect. Being a rape survivor, it made me numb to imagine that it was gonna happen again during this period, because I was helpless, I was powerless, I had no strength in me. I was beat, I was defeated, I was everything I'd never wish even on my worst enemy. Yeah. And well, that would probably be another story time that would come on later, but during that period of time that happened. And I remember just feeling like the world should open up and swallow me. And I went into a situation where I didn't know how to talk about what I was going through, so I never talked about it. And sleeping on the streets became a regular, and I even made friends on the streets. I learned what privilege is when it comes to living on the streets. That's when I really understood the lesson on privilege, really. Because even in that worst period of my life, I looked at myself and I understood how lucky I was, in the very least, I didn't live my whole life on the streets. If from there on out this was gonna be my life, in the very least I didn't start off there, and so maybe I'm better off. I also sat at a place where I was on the streets. I had a smartphone. I'd go to Cafe Deli. Cafe Deli became a favorite joint. The Cafe Deli that is near Aga Khan Walk, that was the place because it was near where I hung out at night. It was near Aga Khan Walk where I sat most of the day after I tried going to Uhuru Park, and it proved around Freedom Corner, and it proved to be one of the most insecure places ever. And Cafe Deli is a place where I can buy a soda, and they have charging sockets, and I can charge my phone so that in the very least, and use their Wi-Fi and be online, and to the rest of the world make it seem like everything is fine. I was bent on doing that, by the way, because I couldn't talk about what I was going through anyway. I had already blocked my mind from speaking about it because it felt like every time I tried, it was really hard and complicated. So yeah, and I just sat. One day turned into 2 days, into 3 days, and before I knew it, I had 2 weeks on the streets, and that was the hardest time. But that's when I learned some of the most important lessons of my life. Lessons like showing up for myself, being there for myself, even though I hardly believed if I even deserved myself. I felt worthless, I felt stupid, I felt defeated, I felt all kind of invalid emotions, and that's why I'm big on validation. I'm big on just telling people every moment you get a chance, if you've gotten a chance, tell someone something nice. You never know, they might be experiencing a lot of shit, and that one thing is the one thing that, you know, would help them. And how I ended up leaving the streets eventually and finding the place that I'm staying in currently is that I bumped into a friend. Well, not necessarily a close friend, but a friend who initially was an acquaintance we met through a friend. And when I met her, she said hi to me, and I remember she asked for my number because she said she had lost my number, and I gave it to her, and she asked me where I'm staying, and I remember running into some sort of a shock because I had been on the streets 2 weeks at that point. My clothes were dirty. I kept on recycling the same clothes and same clothes and same clothes. Well, to put up a facade. It's sad that we have to live a life of putting up faces. And I remember when she asked me where I stay, and my mind went on some sort of a race or a marathon, and I ended up only just shrugging my shoulders because I didn't know what to say. And when she left is when a friend of mine, Joe Bonga, started talking to me on Messenger, and I figured because this is the mutual friend that we met through, they would start. I figured they must have talked for him to reach out, and he asked me, and I told him what the scenario was like and everything. And somehow she texted me and came and found me, and she tried to talk me into going to her place and everything. And I promise you, initially I was really adamant because, like I said, my mind was in some sort of a blockage. It felt like I didn't want to explain anything to anyone, and it felt like I'm gonna burden someone with me, a whole of me who has nothing figured out. My life is shitty and everything. I'm dirty, I'm filthy, I'm everything I wouldn't wish on any human being. And she insisted, and I remember she insisted. We ended up going home, I think, at 2 in the morning. And it is within those couple of days that I was at her place that a friend of mine reached out. Her name is Ifatu. She's from Nigeria. She reached out and we had a conversation. And having a conversation, she ended up being the one who helped me by sending me some money that I was able to look for a house. I remember when she sent the money, that was the first time I had strength for something. I had strength because I was craving for solitude. I was craving to just be on my own, and whatever that journey may mean, I just wanted it. And I started online, and I bumped into a house agent, and one thing led to another, and that's how I found this house. Between starting in the morning and evening, I got a place the following day, came to see it, and I knew I wanted to come to this place. And I remember reaching out to my sister, trying to see if I can go pick my stuff and everything. And initially, it was up to the moment that she said she's at home, I can go pick my stuff. It was really a back and forth, because I'd text, she wouldn't reply, then she replied, and she said she wouldn't leave the key for me. The only time I'm allowed to go to the house is if she's in the house. And I told her, okay, well then just tell me when you're in the house so that I can go pick my stuff. And I went to pick my stuff. After she told me at around midday or something, I left, went, picked my stuff, left, and basically moved into a house with nothing except my clothes and everything. And when I got here, I remember I didn't even have a mattress, and for another couple of a week, 2 weeks, I slept on the floor. Yeah, I just put a bit of clothes and slept on the floor, and it wasn't an easy experience. And all the time I'm going through this, I have other story times that I can tell of how I'm someone you can look at right now, and some of you look at me out there and say they look up to me, I'm their role model and everything. Well, I ain't shit, people. I've been through it all. I am happy to know that in bits and pieces, my experiences inspire you to become a better person, and that is a good thing. But yeah, I ain't shit, and days are hard. Some days harder than others. Some days just hardly easy, or some days, but we have those too. And yeah, that's my coming out story. And I guess I'd just say again, in coming out, I guess the lesson that I learned, because leading up to now, the most scariest thing for me, I end months because I have to pay rent. I don't have a job. I rely on a bit of one thing here, a bit of another thing here. And the biggest fear is that I might not be able to pay my rent, and then when I'm not able to, I'll not have a place to sleep in. And then when I don't have that, I'll end up back on the streets again. And that shit is fucking scary. And I don't want to go back there ever again. I don't think I want to. And so the advice that I'll give people is that I know it would look like you're manipulating the situation, but do not come out until you're guaranteed you have people to hold you down when it comes down to the wire, or you have a stable financial plan that you're sure, regardless of what happens, you can be able to stand on your own 2 feet and deal with only the frustration of being rejected, but not having to deal with what to eat, where to sleep, or anything. I dealt with all that. Currently, I'm in a phase where food frustrates me. Food literally frustrates me, because I went through very long periods of not eating and anything, because I didn't see value in life. I didn't see anything that mattered, really. And so for me, it was just about, if we see another day, we see another day. If we don't, we don't. I'm happy that I'm gaining some weight now. Not as rapid as I'd want to, but I am. But I lost a lot of kgs. I remember last I checked, I had 14 kgs off my weight, and many people would tell me you look awesome and everything, but I wasn't awesome. The outside maybe looked awesome, the frame was awesome, but the insides were not okay, because I struggled with a lot of things. Yeah, and I'm glad that I'm gaining some weight. I'm glad also I'm learning what it feels like to pick up the pieces. Would I want to reconcile with my family someday? Maybe someday, but I don't. I do know for sure right now it's not the one thing I'm working deliberately towards. I'm just working more deliberately toward my peace, towards my sanity, towards my freedom, towards stabilizing my life, making something out of this shitty life that is mine. And yeah, so I appreciate the people in my life. Through all these phases, I've had people who have turned into what has been constant in my life. I've had friends that have become family. I've had people who live their lives looking out for me, and I appreciate them so much. And I know this has been a very roller coaster video. This is me telling myself you shouldn't cry. I've always grown up thinking crying is weak. I've only learned how to be emotional recently, to talk about the things that eat me up recently, after I started seeing a psychiatrist. And so yeah, I've had people who I can't go a day without talking to, because these are people who are important in my life. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know what tomorrow holds, really. I just know I've finally come to a place where I'm excited about the now, the today, this moment, this minute that I'm here. In the very least, I'm excited about that. Don't be misled by this sad face and everything. I'm excited by the very second that I exist. That is a very small margin of excitement, but it's what has enabled me to establish even an hour period of excitement, because through those seconds we build up to minutes, through those minutes we build up to hours. I'm lucky if I can go 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, just being distracted, being excited, being not thinking about the worst things that life could offer. And I live for those, literally. It's scary to wish, it's scary to hope. Everyone wants to have a comfortable, peaceful, happy life that is full of people who want you in their lives, people who care for you and all. I'm no unique human being. I want that as well. But if there is a reality I've come to make peace with, is that not every time you want something you get. And sometimes you just go with the flow. Whatever it is that you get, you get. If you don't get anything, it's also totally okay. And so I'm here in every minute, in every second, just never forgetting to remind people that you're valid, that you're important, that you matter. And kindly, I think I'll say this again, do not come out until you're sure you're ready, because nasty things are gonna happen. I'll go with what I've made my famous saying now. People will be your family because you're born in the same family as them, but it takes more to have a reason to keep people in your life. People have to choose you. And if you have people who at one point they refused to choose you, they don't deserve you. In your skewed ways, in your, not perfect human ways, nobody deserves you if they can't choose you. So life is a cycle of choosing one another. So be with people who choose you. That comes at a price, it always does, but be with people who choose you. Because it's important to be chosen. And it's very important to not be in places where you're not wanted. I hope this encourages someone. I hope this helps someone figure a lot of things out. I hope this is my story. It doesn't have to be your story. If it's yours, virtual hugs from me to you. I hope this sheds more light on, in the very least, how you treat queer people out there. Because my story is not a story of all queer people. All queer people have different stories that they have to tell about their experiences. And life is about phases, I tell you people. So don't go out there telling a queer person their life is a phase. Even yours is a phase. Everyone lives a life of phases where one phase you're happy, one phase you're not happy. One phase you discover one thing about yourself, one phase you discover another thing, one phase you grow into understanding the previous phase and everything. Life is all about phases. We are all experiencing our phases in different ways, shapes and forms. Learn to respect people for who they are. You might have different varying opinions about that. That doesn't mean you shouldn't respect them. It's not about tolerating people, because a human being is a human being. You don't have to tolerate them. I think too much violence that we're experiencing in the world today is because people just struggle to tolerate one another. Be with people who want you, who choose you, and you don't have to be in spaces where you're not wanted. You don't have to be people who don't choose you, because people who tolerate you are people who have not chosen you, and those are people who love you are the people who hurt you the most. Yeah, so have people choose you, so that when you're chosen, you know for sure you're wanted there. And in being chosen, when you're not chosen, you are able to know what not being chosen looks like. Yeah, I wish you all the best. And to any heterosexual person out there, yeah, be kind to a gay person today. Be kind to a transgender person. Be kind to a gender non-conforming person. Be kind to a lesbian. Be kind to a bisexual person. Be kind to a human being in the LGBTQ, GNC+++ community. We need kindness. We come from places, it's not something to brag about, it's not what it should be, but we come from some dark spaces of struggling to understand our sexualities, growing up in communities and families and societies where we are told it's wrong. We start from hating ourselves to understanding ourselves to beginning to love ourselves, and to grow out of that and to come out and be this person who the world can see a light in. It's not an easy thing. So be kind to one person today. Tell them they're valid. It's very important. I don't know if it's about enjoying, but I hope you learned something. Thank you for visiting my channel, and I really do appreciate. I said I link up Mildred Ngesa's YouTube channel on my description box below. I will do that. Make sure to go on her YouTube. She just started off like a week and a half ago. Go there and watch. She's an author as well. She writes. So go interact with her and just say, she might also be your mentor. She's that kind of person you'd want to share with everyone in the world, because she brings so much joy in any room that she's in. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and see you in my next video. Bye.